Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out. Today we have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. Before diving into these topics, do me a favor, if you end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. It helps the videos out more than you know, and if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. We are starting here talking about Ubisoft Massive's upcoming Star Wars game. This is something that we learned about a long time ago, but apparently the announcement, or the official announcement, I should say, is expected to come this year. This is reading from Gaming Bolt, and it says a number of Star Wars titles are confirmed to be in development at several major studios across the industry, and one that we're seemingly going to get plenty of new and concrete details on this year is the open world game in development at Massive Entertainment, the studio behind The Division. Confirmed to be in development back in January of 2021, Massive's Star Wars game seems to be in line for a full reveal at some point in 2023. At least that's what a recent tweet by creative director Julian Gueretti seems to suggest. Taking recently to Twitter, Gueretti wrote, "2023 is going to be huge for us. Join the adventure." The tweet was accompanied by an image of the Star Wars title, in case there was any confusion as to what exactly he's referring to. Details on this Star Wars game are next to non-existent at this point, but besides the fact that it will be an open world title, little else is known about it. And so, yeah, this is something that I am going to be paying attention to because I'm actually a fan of The Division. I enjoyed The Division 1 and The Division 2, and so the idea that we're going to be getting an open world Star Wars game that is coming from the same development team is very interesting to me. So let me know if this upcoming Star Wars game from Ubisoft Massive is something that you're looking forward to being revealed officially this year. Moving on to the next topic though, we have an interesting update from the Persona developer, that being Atlus. They are seemingly teasing several unannounced titles for 2023 coming from Push Square. It says Japanese developers have always made a habit of teasing their plans at the start of a new year, and we dare say that Atlus is being the biggest tease of all. In a New Year's statement to Famitsu, the outfit behind the Persona series says that it's, quote, preparing several unannounced titles, end quote, for the 12 months ahead. This, of course, in addition to the PS4 ports of Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, which release later this month on January 19th. If you'll remember, near the end of last year, Atlus actually went public with its regret in not being able to live up to expectations for Persona's 25th anniversary. Previously, the developer had promised a parade of announcements, but the reality is that we got notified about a bunch of merch, Japan-only events, and the aforementioned ports. It was all a bit of a bust. And it's worth noting here that we're seeing rumors begin to float around of a Persona 3 remake potentially being one of the things that Atlus is planning to reveal this year. That's just a rumor though. Apparently it comes from some type of credible insider on Reset Era, so take that with a grain of salt, but figured it was worth mentioning here. So yeah, let me know guys if you are looking forward to what Atlus may be teasing here for 2023 and what you're hoping Atlus ends up revealing this year. But continuing to talk about Final Fantasy, I have a write-up here from Push Square where they say Final Fantasy 16 is already hyping up a huge year. June 22nd, 2023, that's a big day for Final Fantasy fans in the year ahead, as Final Fantasy 16 remains locked into its summer release date. We've got close to 7 months before it arrives, but Square Enix is wasting no time in getting the ball rolling. In a straight-to-the-point social media post, the developer reiterates the aforementioned launch date and promises, quote, a lot of information, end quote. In the meantime, some lovely new artwork is included. We get that it's a fairly innocent statement, but let's be real, the marketing budget for this game will be colossal, and that's without factoring in PlayStation's involvement with its timed exclusivity deal. You're going to be seeing a lot of Final Fantasy 16 over the next few months as we ramp up to the promised date, assuming it doesn't get delayed, of course. So yeah, I just wanted to cover this because they did post this out on the official Final Fantasy 16 Twitter, and yeah, you know, it's safe to say that the hype for Final Fantasy 16 is real. I've been talking a lot about 2023 and some of the big games for PlayStation that are set to launch, and we obviously talk a lot about Spider-Man 2. That's been confirmed for fall of this year, but I think Final Fantasy 16 is obviously right up there with Spider-Man 2, and I think that these two games alone are going to be huge system sellers for Sony and just titles that sell millions upon millions of units. So, yeah, definitely looking to be an exciting year for PlayStation 5 and Final Fantasy fans. Next up, we have some information on PlayStation VR 2, specifically its eye tracking and how it sounds apparently truly terrifying, according to Push Square. They say Until Dawn Rush of Blood, a rail shooter with many memorable moments, was one of the unsung heroes of the PSVR software roster, and the pseudo sequel of the Dark Pictures Switchback VR looks set to build on that legacy. While it will offer a similar experience to its predecessor, you're riding a roller coaster through increasingly unnerving environments. It does have some horrifying ideas that will take advantage of the hardware. One feature that's been teased previously but described in more detail by Edge magazine is its implementation of eye tracking. As you may know, PSVR 2 can detect where you're looking, and it can use this technology in a number of ways. For many, it'll likely be leveraged for foveated rendering, which is used to enhance the detail of objects you're specifically looking at, cutting back on computational cost, but there are gameplay possibilities too. In Firewall Ultra, for example, you'll use your eyes to select your weapons. And in the aforementioned horror spin-off, well, developer Supermassive Games has something particularly horrific in mind. Edge explains, quote, "A door painted with the instruction, 'Don't blink,' opens up into a room of blood-smeared mannequins in Harlequin masks, their bodies twisted into unnatural poses. Eventually, we can't help it anymore and let our eyelids flutter closed. When they open again, the mannequins have been rearranged or have rearranged themselves," end quote. The magazine continues that it learned to use its blinking tactically, only closing its eyes once its weapons were reloaded and ready. While it's obviously a gimmick and one that's likely to be copied by countless other developers over the course of PSVR 2's lifespan, it sounds particularly harrowing, doesn't it? Pair this all with the headset's haptic feedback and lifelike visuals, and we imagine this is going to be a pretty heart-pounding experience. So, yeah, I had to cover this and read this to you guys because this does sound very cool. We are getting very close to the launch of PSVR 2, and I'd say the hype is moderate right now. I think it's going to increase as we get closer, and certainly once people start talking about the games. But this sounds insane to me. I mean, I kind of love this. I love hearing about these development teams that are really finding unique ways to take advantage of the hardware-specific features that are going to be on offer here. And yeah, when it comes to PSVR 2 and horror, considering this is the next gen of VR, I'm expecting some crazy things, and clearly that's what we're getting here with this. So let me know your thoughts on that. But moving to the final topic of the video, we have a pretty interesting one. It seems we are looking at Neil Druckmann taking to Twitter to shut down some recent rumors that we've been hearing from some so-called insiders. Now, this has to do with The Last of Us Part 3, and how apparently that might not be what we get from Naughty Dog when it comes to their next big project. Coming from WCCF Tech, they say late last month, rumors emerged that Naughty Dog head creative Neil Druckmann would be moving directly onto The Last of Us Part 3 as his next project. The info, which came from a source known for accurate movie leaks, but that seldom waded into the world of video games, was met with a mixed reception. Understandably, some were excited about more Last of Us, but others were perhaps hoping for a respite from Druckmann's grim post-apocalyptic world. Well, the Last of Us Part 3 rumors are starting to look a bit shaky. As part of a New Year's message, Neil Druckmann specifically urged fans to be wary of insiders, as much of what they are reporting is false. While Druckmann doesn't specifically mention The Last of Us 3, that's really the only big rumor that has been circulated about Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann recently, so there's a good chance that's exactly what he's talking about. And so this is something I wanted to be sure to cover because that's exactly what I'm getting from this. I feel like this is Neil Druckmann's way of directly, or maybe indirectly, acknowledging this rumor that was being reported on. And it's worth noting it did circulate quite a bit. It really started to gain some traction. And I'll be honest, I couldn't help but notice that a lot of you guys in the comment section of that video made it pretty clear that you don't want to see The Last of Us Part 3 next from Naughty Dog, if ever. And, you know, even I can admit that I would be okay with a break. I mean, we're getting The Last of Us HBO series right after The Last of Us Part 1, after The Last of Us Part 2, and then we're going to be getting a Last of Us multiplayer game. I am definitely ready for something from Naughty Dog that's not based in the Last of Us universe. And so this does give me quite a bit of hope that that's not what we're looking at here, that we're not just going to see them move on to The Last of Us Part 3 immediately. I mean, if that wasn't true, why else would Neil Druckmann say this, unless it's just to maybe throw us off the trail? But I doubt he would say that if that was the case, because it's not like this is something people were still talking about, you know, going into New Year's. So yeah, I'll let you guys make of this what you will. At this point in time, the final thing I'll say is that my hope is the next project announcement that's not the Last of Us multiplayer game we get from Naughty Dog is a new IP, and I think that's what a lot of people are hoping for as well. I'm definitely willing to see what Naughty Dog certainly can do with a new IP. I think a lot of people would be happy about that. That does it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you found it informative. Leave it a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.